Welcome back to 15 Lanes Talk Game Week 24 preview show. We are going to talk about all the games that are happening all over the weekend, as Arsenal will be traveling to Elland Road to take on Leeds United. Chelsea will be hosting West Ham in another London derby. Manchester United will be welcoming Fulham at the Old Trafford. Liverpool will be taking on Newcastle at the Anfield. And the big one of the week, Tottenham Hotspurs will be taking on Manchester City at the White Hart Lane. Let's go! Leeds United versus Arsenal at the Elland Road. Arsenal is going at the Elland Road, hoping to bounce back to their winning ways after dropping 7 points in their last 3 games in the Premier League and allowing Manchester City to close the gap to 4 points. So they are going into this game hoping to extend that lead back to 7 points, as Manchester City will be taking on Tottenham Hotspurs the next day on Sunday. You understand? Some of the biggest talking points in this game. Let's talk about the game Arsenal in the Champions League, their last game against Kairat. In this game, this is the first game, in my opinion, where we can clearly criticize Victor Gyökeres. Because in this game, we saw Victor Gyökeres, while chances were created for him, he had the chance to score a hat-trick in this game, especially in the halftime. You understand? And also in this game, we saw Kai Havertz. He was very important. He scored a goal and also released Victor Gyökeres with that beautiful assist. So the question are going to be raised. That same game when Odegaard came, the game slowed down. You understand? So the question have to be asked, come this game against Leeds, is Odegaard going to start ahead of Havertz, or is Havertz going to start in that 10 role? You understand? We know these are Havertz and Odegaard are the players Mikel Arteta loves most, or some of the players Mikel Arteta loves most at Arsenal Football Club. So we are just going to wait and see. And there was a huge squad rotation in that game. You understand? We saw also Eberechi Eze, who had a beautiful game. Is he going to start against Leeds? Of course, he has taken a long time without starting for Arsenal. Arsenal are going to Leeds, and Leeds are unbeaten at the Elland Road in their last 5 games. And these 5 games they have played against big opponents like Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Is Arsenal going to end this Leeds unbeaten streak at the Elland Road so that they can get back to their winning ways? We will wait and see what will unfold at the Elland Road tomorrow. Chelsea versus West Ham at the Bridge. Another London derby for Liam Rafinha, who has won 5 of the last 6 games since he joined Chelsea. The guy he has been doing really great with that important comeback against Napoli to seal Chelsea to seal their spot in the top 8 of the Champions League. Some of the biggest talking points in this game, we are going to talk about Cole Palmer. We all know Cole Palmer had a very long-term injury and he came back. So Chelsea have been trying to manage his minutes. You understand? Going forward, we saw him when he came off the bench to help Chelsea make that incredible comeback against Napoli, and Napoli finally got knocked out of the Champions League. They never made it to the playoffs. You understand? But that is all a courtesy of Cole Palmer, who came off the bench and provided 2 assists. There is a huge blow and a boost for Chelsea going into this game against West Ham United, because West Ham sold Paqueta to Flamengo and they ended up signing Adama Traore from Fulham. You understand? So losing Paqueta when you're going into this important game, it's not a good sign, as though Nuno is trying to save West Ham from relegation. And let's talk about João Pedro. João Pedro has scored 4 goals in his last 5 games for Chelsea. Since Liam Rafinha took over, João Pedro has been on fire. He has been clinical every time he's on the pitch. Are we going to see him score against West Ham in the London derby? And by the way, in the first leg of this fixture, João Pedro got his first goal for Chelsea against West Ham. The Club World Cup, João Pedro went on the long drought without scoring for Chelsea, but when they faced West Ham in the London Derby in the first leg, he scored. Is he going to do it again this time around when he is more clinical since Liam Rafinha took over? We are going to wait and see. Liverpool versus Newcastle at the Anfield. Liverpool haven't lost to Newcastle in the last 29 games at the Anfield. Is something new going to happen? Are Newcastle going to end that unbeaten streak at the Anfield? But some of the biggest talking points going into this fixture, we shall just go back in August, the first leg of this match. It was an action-packed game. Gordon got a red card. Newcastle went down to 2 goals and they made a comeback till when Rio Gamoa came on the pitch and scored that goal at the St. James's Park to earn Liverpool a win. You understand? And in this game, the most important player is Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah has 19 goal contribution in this fixture. Are we going to see him add on those goal contribution, or are Newcastle going to get away with it? You understand? And also on the other hand, Liverpool have been struggling of late. You understand? In the Premier League, they don't have a single win in their last 5 Premier League games. They have 4 draws plus 1 loss. So this may be some advantage for Newcastle. Maybe they will get a chance to end the unbeaten run. Or is Liverpool going to use this as fuel to get also back to their winning ways in the Premier League? We'll have also a right back crisis because we know Firpong got injured, Conor Bradley is injured, Joe Gomez is injured. Are we going to see Dominic Szoboszlai playing right back in this game? Because he has been covering that right back position for Liverpool for a very long time. This season he has been playing in some games. He has been playing there at the right back, and we saw it in the first leg. He played there at the right back for Liverpool. And Isak won't get a chance to haunt Newcastle. He has to wait till next year because he's injured, the most expensive player in the history of the Premier League. But there is a huge boost for Liverpool going into this game. Ibrahim Konate is back. Last week, he announced the passing away of his dad and he missed the Champions League game. You understand? So he's back. He's back in the Liverpool squad. Let's see if he's going to start that game for Liverpool. And since they have a lot of injury, there are high chances that he will be starting. Manchester United versus Fulham at the Old Trafford. Can Michael Carrick make it 3 out of 3 for the first time in a long time for Manchester United? Since he took over, we have seen him humbling Arsenal, humbling Manchester City. Now his next victim may be Fulham. But can he make it happen? You know, the funny thing about Manchester United is they win games where you don't expect them to win, and they drop points where you don't expect them to drop them. So are we going to see that thing haunt them against Fulham? And remember, Fulham are also fighting to get into those European positions. Right now, Fulham are 7th and they are just 4 points behind Manchester United, which means this is going to be a very, very hard game. And Harry Wilson right now, he's also on form. It's not going to be an easy game for both teams. You understand? Because Fulham need to close the gap on those European positions, just 4 points behind Manchester United. And there is a huge blow for Manchester United. Patrick Dogu got an injury, an hamstring injury, which means he's going to be out for a full month. And he was one of those. He had picked up now momentum for Manchester United since they moved him up front. You understand? He scored in his last 2 games for Manchester United against Manchester City and Arsenal. Hotspurs versus Manchester City at the White Hart Lane. Manchester City are going into this game hoping to keep pressure on Arsenal or close the gap on Arsenal. Since Arsenal will be playing on Saturday and Manchester City will be playing on Sunday. So the game of Arsenal on Saturday will decide. So Arsenal on Saturday will decide what Manchester City is going to do. Is it going to close the gap on Arsenal or keep pressure? You understand? But this is not also an easy game. Manchester City have suffered a lot in the hands of Tottenham. Even this season, first leg, we saw Manchester City scored first and Tottenham came back from 1 goal down to win that game. You understand? But Tottenham have lost 5 games in Premier League consecutive. So, but on the other hand, also Manchester City have been struggling. The whole January, they only have 1 win. So both teams have been struggling this January month. Both teams have been struggling. You understand? So both teams are hoping to keep momentum. And we all know Thomas Frank, when he was at Brentford, he used to give Manchester City hard time. And if we go head to head of Tottenham with Pep Guardiola, Tottenham have won 8 times against Pep Guardiola. So this is a very, very tricky fixture. So we just have to wait and see, is Thomas Frank and Tottenham going to help Arsenal hold Manchester City, or Manchester City is going to come out victorious in this game and keep pressure on Arsenal?